Guys, Barrett Freeman here with another episode of the PropertyTales podcast. Today I'm joined by Coby Cima. Don't know much about him other than the fact that he lives here in Corbin, and he is setting up a social networking club here in downtown that I was able to participate last Tuesday. It was a great success, especially for I guess the first meeting.
Oh yeah,
Was that the first meeting?
it was the first.
What are you calling it?
So we called it the Main Street Mingle. I thought a little bit about the name. I thought, we're going to have it on Main Street. We might rotate it a little bit, maybe not, but why not call it the Main Street Mingle? Because that's what we're doing. We're mingling.
I mean, there's the name's not super important. You can also just change it if you have to, but I thought it was a fine starting name.
Yeah.
So I think my podcast I think the first few episodes, I don't think I even had a good name for it.
Yeah.
And then finally I was like, okay, if I'm going to be serious about this, I have to come up with a good name. And I spent like a week trying to come up with something that was like real estate related and business related. And I don't know if I did a good job or not, but so far so good, I guess.
Yeah. PropertyTales seems like a sweet name.
It's fine.
So,
yeah, it works. So tell me about yourself.
Yeah. So my name's Coby Cima. I've lived here my whole life. I went to school at the Cumberlands. I grew up, right in between 5th and 7th Street. So I've been down here for forever. I have a wife, beautiful wife, great supportive wife. Her name's Meredith. And then I have 3 sons, Cotton, Blake, and Nico. So
what kind of business are you in?
yeah, so I work for a financial services company called Real Financial. So we do everything from just regular insurance. We partner with people that do gold and silver, will and estate planning, some supplemental retirement, sort of like a little wealth management. But we do partner with a lot of people, CPAs, financial advisors, realtors, just to give the client the best experience.
Well, the reason I know you is because you are a mover and shaker. If I knew you before just because your ties with some of the local, like Austin City. I know you were there for a while, so I was aware of you. But then I really got to know you a little bit better, more personally, at that Main Street Mingle the other day, and so that's where we connected. And I was like, hey, you should be on a podcast, especially if you're going to be growing that, which I think you should.
Definitely.
It was a huge success. Did you ever post that picture that we all took?
I haven't posted the picture. I was going to post some stuff today.
I'll share it. It'll help a little bit. I'll help any way I can.
Yeah.
I believe in it. I think if somebody would take the reins like you and try to grow something like that, I think it would be great for the area. Where'd you get the idea?
Man, so me and my wife, we moved to Texas. So we originally started in private PPO health insurance, and we trained with a company down there in Texas. My wife actually still does that. But we realized that there was a lot of networking events. There was running clubs. There was pickleball clubs. There was volleyball clubs, young entrepreneur running clubs. They had everything.
Right.
And, I was trying to, I'm trying to grow my business. So I'm like, well, let's find some things around here. Well, there's not really many. You have the Chamber of Commerce, which I do need to join. A couple other things. So I was like, hey, let's start one. And this was probably like a year back, and I never started. I just had the idea, and then right now I'm at the point where if I have an idea, I'm just going to immediately take action. Same way jumping on this podcast. Like when I originally texted you, I was thinking, maybe here in a couple of weeks. But you're like, let's do it tomorrow. I'm like, let's go. Let's do it tomorrow.
And that's how I approach life.
Yeah.
If I'm going to do something, I do it.
Better. So many people these days, they have all these great ideas, but they don't act on it. And then somebody else has the same great idea, and they act on it, and then they see them like, oh, man, I had that idea back in the day. Well, you didn't act on it. So
That's the difference. And also, you might not be as smart or as talented as the person that had the idea, but if you're just going to do it, that you're just always going to get ahead.
yeah.
I've never thought that me and Blake were particularly smart, but if we had an idea, we just started working.
Yeah,
you just get better over time.
You just have to try. I'm a firm believer. Like I think the term failure, oh, I'm a failure, or oh, you don't want to fail. I think that's something that's been indoctrinated into us by society. Is you have the option to fail, but if you really take the perspective of if I don't quit, I'm not going to fail.
What kind of podcasts do you watch?
So one of the guys that runs the company I work for, his name's Brad Lee. I'm not sure if you're familiar with his podcast.
I wouldn't be surprised if I saw
Yeah.
one of the clips or reels.
Yeah.
What kind of podcast does he run?
So it's called Dropping Bombs. So he gets everybody on there. You know, he'll have people talking about health. He'll have people talking about wealth. He'll have people talking about job opportunities and everything like that. And he just basically they get on there and they talk. They have a casual conversation. If they say something great, he hits a thing. It drops the bomb. It's like boom. You know?
Oh, I see.
So it's pretty neat. I like listening to podcasts like that just because you get a perspective of somebody that is wealthy, somebody that is successful, and how they look at life.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't know the answer, you have to go look for it. And I think that's another barrier for people too when they want to do something. Like, well, I don't know where to start. You know, they don't know, I guess, where to find answers. Start talking to people, Google it.
Yeah.
You know,
Chat GPT it, man.
We do that a shocking amount.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Something easy. Like if I'm wanting to do something interesting, like with an edit on one of these podcasts, I know it's possible, but I don't know how to do it. I'll go to ChatGPT and be like, I'm using Final Cut Pro. How do I make it fade in this interesting way? And it's
step by step, man.
The answer's right there.
Yeah.
So, what other business things you got going on besides the Mingle and?
Yeah. So we're really focusing on. We are focusing on the Mingle. We want to grow it. You know, we talked about doing these monthly. I think it's going to be very beneficial. I'd like to start a couple more clubs, but personally, I'm just trying to grow my business, build a network, and then help grow my wife's business. And there's some things we'd like to do later on, but I think right now, like, you know, creating the cash flow, creating a successful business, creating a personal brand. That's where I am right now. You know, that's one of the reasons I want to be on here. I want to create that personal brand because with AI taking over, you know, it is taking over. It's in everything. I think the only thing that will stand out is a personal brand. So I'm really focusing hard on building that.
Besides ChatGPT, what other AIs are you using?
Man, so I started with ChatGPT. I feel like ChatGPT is like the Google when it comes to AI.
It is.
Now you have people using the term, like I said, you know, just ChatGPT it. But I started asking ChatGPT, hey, you know, this is what I want to do. I want to grow my social media. What are some other things, you know, out there? There's Claude. I think that it was ran by some people that worked at ChatGPT or OpenAI, and they didn't like certain things about how the company was doing it, so they started their own. And then you start figuring out, well, like ChatGPT is great for brainstorming. Claude's good for copywriting, and then you have like Midjourney that's good for text to video and text to image. But I watched a podcast, the Dropping Bombs podcast, and they had a guy on there that he created an AI called Magi.co, and it's like all the great ones in one. So I've been using that.
Yeah, I've used Magi.
Yeah,
I did the same journey. I started at ChatGPT, went to Midjourney. You dabble in a bunch of little ones here and there. There's one called can't remember what it's called now because I don't use it anymore. But it's basically created like a brand kit, so like you can tell it what you're trying to create, what values the company has, and it'll come up with colors and logos and designs and banners. And we used that for the PropertyTales for the first time. Spent like $200 on the brand kit. It did give me a brand kit I was pretty happy with, but I've refreshed since then. But there's a million AIs out there. But right now, ChatGPT is definitely king.
Oh yeah.
And then even with ChatGPT now, they're doing text to image. So I did a thumbnail for my last video right there in ChatGPT.
Yeah.
I uploaded some pictures of my face and maybe the guest face, our logo, and it put everything together in about a minute.
Yeah, and I mean the great thing about that is, like when you have that idea, before the AI, well, what I need to do. Well, then I need to Google what I need to do. What kind of team do I need to have? How do I need to lay this out? Well, if you have an idea here, it'll give you a step-by-step action plan on how to scale your business, how to grow your social media, how to write an ebook, how to, make faceless AI content. It's so crazy, man.
Another thing that is part of personal brand is the content creation. Are you looking at starting to do some of that?
Yeah. So the niche that I'm following is the generational wealth. Everybody, like when you think of an insurance agent, you think of maybe State Farm. You think of life insurance as being I pay this little premium. If I pass away, I pass this down to my kids. But I'm not sure if you've ever heard of the Waterfall Method that the Rockefellers use. That's the niche that I'm I'm going after. There's a lot of information out there about what they did, but there's not a lot of information on how to set that structure up, how to create that process to where you can actually do that.
So what is the waterfall method?
So essentially, I mean, there's a lot of different aspects to it. First point, the first process would be that I could handle myself would be the cash value life insurance. So there's whole life. Then you have your IULs, right? So IUL is a account that you can grow a cash value and also have a death benefit in. I will tell you this, there's a lot of people that sell it as an end-all be-all retirement account out there, and I am not one of those guys, and I will never tell you that. But for the waterfall method specifically, it's very helpful, right? So you start a fund, you start contributing a little bit to this cash value, has that minimum death benefit, so you're paying the minimum cost of insurance. You want to look at it as like a liability insurance on a car. And then the other portion of the money is growing tax-free. Well, with these accounts, you're able to...
It's tax before it goes in somehow?
It's tax before it goes in. Yeah, it's like a Roth. So it's tax before it goes in. Money grows tax-free. Well, you're able to actually take loans against that death benefit out of the account, and then you can use that money for whatever you want.
Does that have to be paid back within a certain time frame?
It does. I mean, there's a... it's usually... It's usually like a 4.5-5% interest rate that you have to pay back. But you got to think, if you had, let's say you have $100,000, you take $10,000 out, you go buy, say you're a plumber and you got to go buy a piece of equipment, you start making more money off that equipment, you can throw it back in that account. But it's that 4.5% interest yearly, right?
So a lot cheaper than taxed at 30%.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we try to get creative with some of our accounts. We used to anyway. Yeah, there's a lot of really cool things you can do with some of these investment vehicles, like you're talking about.
Absolutely, yeah. So that would be the first step, right? You make the beneficiary the trust. You got to get it with an estate planning attorney, get an irrevocable trust, or create a dynasty trust, and there's a lot that goes into that. And then, once you pass away, the death benefit goes into your trust. And then, let's say me, I have a family of 5. Well, if we all 5 have accounts, which we're working on, me and my wife have accounts. But my 3 sons, me and my wife, the trust will be the beneficiary. So when we pass, there will be money, and then you have something in there that tells you how to allocate it. Do you want to buy assets? Do you want to buy gold and silver? Do you want to buy crypto? And basically, what I'm doing is I'm using AI to help me create a client portal to where you can look at all that. You can look at your family tree, and basically somebody can just pull up an app, pull up their phone and be like, oh, this is what I got. Here's what's in my Roth. Here's what's in my IRA. Here's what's in my bank account. Here's what's in my credit account. So
I believe in real estate as far as the investment vehicle. What do you think about investing in real estate in the future?
I think it's huge. Me and my wife, I remember actually talking to buddies about, I was pre-med at Cumberland. Some things ended up happening. I ended up dropping out, but I have some buddies. One's going to be an orthopedic surgeon. I got a guy that's one of my best friends that's a vet in London. And we all talked about, getting like vacation homes, whether it be at the beach, the mountains, wherever it may be. And basically Airbnb-ing those out. We can go when we want, have a couple weeks. If there's 3 of us in it, have, 3 weeks out of the year where we can go for free. And then we have, people in there renting weekly. But I haven't looked much into that. It's been an idea, but me and my wife have been talking recently.
The barriers of the down payment. You have to come up with 20% down for a $1.5 million cabin. So you have to come up with, $250,000 down. So, certainly that's why it makes sense to bring in partners, especially partners that are, making a lot of money, like, doctors and vets.
Yep, absolutely.
And I don't personally have any advice on that. I have a few buddies that have done that over the years. It's just like anything in any investment, does this, especially like just when big things happen, like, interest rates go up or, maybe the economy's down a little bit and then people just start spending money and vacationing quite as much.
Yeah.
I remember like there was a big boom of Airbnbs in the woods on the beach during the pandemic. But then once the pandemic kind of slowed down and people ran out of like money, all my buddies, like their Airbnbs dried up pretty fast and a lot of them started panic selling.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think it's stabilized again. I'm going to Gatlinburg for my birthday next month. Mm-hmm. We're just, we're going to spend thousands of dollars on a cabin for like 4 days. I mean, I believe in the model. It's just not something we've ever done. Our investment strategy has always been, buy something that's unlivable locally, fix it up, and then put a renter in it.
Okay.
And the reason we buy something unlivable is because you can buy it cheap, because the barrier is the down payment. Yeah. You have to come up with that cash. So, it's a lot easier to put 20% down on $40,000 on a $40,000 home than it is a $400,000 home.
Yeah.
And so you can buy 10 houses at $40,000 for the price of $400,000 home. So that's been our strategy. It's been fine. We've grown really quickly doing that. By quickly, I mean we're doing it 10 years. But
yeah,
that's always been what we've done. So if that's a good way to do it without having partners too. I mean, you and your wife could certainly save up, $6,000, $7,000 to buy a fixer-upper house. The barrier is just fixing it up.
Yeah.
Like, do you get contractors? Do you do it yourself? Do you know how to do it? When Blake and I first started, it was just us. We couldn't afford contractors or handymen. I mean, we were just going on YouTube and watching people do drywall work and put in a toilet, and that's how we started for 2 years. It's not for everybody.
Well, I mean, like we were talking about earlier, you just started. You didn't know how to do all that, but you started. Everybody else has the same opportunity. We all have the same opportunity.
Same time. It
just comes down to the ones that take action and actually start.
Also, just the ability to problem solve.
Yeah.
AI is certainly making that easier, but you still have to have that energy to go out and look for the answers.
Yeah.
So, so I guess what would your ideal investment strategy be for the next 3 to 5 years? If everything went perfect for you.
For the next 3 to 5 years, I mean, I think that I think really what I want to do is I want to focus on scaling my business. Obviously, gaining more clients, building that personal brand. I am the business. One thing I love about our business is we do have this, same with real estate. You have the opportunity to bring other people in here. So we're out there giving people financial literacy in a world where financial literacy isn't a thing. And if we help somebody out and they love it and they're like, wow, this is really something that can help, change my life, change my family's future, and they want to come on and join me, I think the most valuable product that I have would probably be the opportunity, because most people are stuck in the rat race, right? So, everybody's working a salary job, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with people working a salary job, making a good money, living and supporting their family.
No stress about admin or paying the bills.
Yeah.
It's attractive.
But I think I know that I have the opportunity to be able to offer somebody a position where, they may be a full-time nurse or whatever it may be, but if they want to come on and make a little extra money, they can get a license and they can help other people. How's
your company structured? As far as how's your job structured? Are you independent contractor or how does it work?
Yeah, so basically it's an IMO. It's an insurance marketing organization, but the people that we have running the company, one of the guys, his name is James Catledge. He was massive in the financial services industry. He grew like an 8,000 person team. Sold the team. He created his own software. He's doing well off his software, but he says he realizes that there's a massive hole in the financial services industry. So, most insurance marketing organizations, they just sell insurance. Well, we're partnering with people that can do will and trust. We're partnering with people that can do gold and silver. We're partnering with people that can do mortgage loans. And, there's so much more coming. But so basically, when somebody, so like when you say structured, you're talking about like how, like from the top down, or
if somebody wanted to do your job, how does it work?
Yeah, so you do have to have your life license. So you got to take the test. The good thing about our company is that, like, you do pay to join, but it covers that test completely. They do all your pre-licensing. They help you with everything. So you come on. We do like a live training. So we do a live training with people. You can write your own business. The commission with our job. The good thing about our company is if you don't want to grow a business, you don't have to grow a business. You can write on your own personal pen and make really good money. But if you want to grow a business, you have that option. So you can bring people on under you. Works just like real estate. You do get overrides. But the way I'm looking at it, it's not like, hey, I want to bring a lot of people on so I can get a lot of overrides. I'm here. I came from a family that is not very wealthy, not financially literate, and I don't know if you've ever heard the term transitional character.
No.
Ed Milet, I'm a huge fan of his. I listen to his podcast. So a transitional character is the one person that changes the generation for the whole family. It's that one person that changes, the family curse of, we're not emotionally intelligent, or we're not financially wealthy, or, say you have people that run on limiting beliefs. You're the one that understands that, hey, I'm here to change, and I'm going to change my family. I'm going to be the person that changes the trajectory of my family. And my goal is to be that person from my family, my wife's family, and then bring people on that want to do that for their family.
That's interesting. I'm more of a steward of that, whereas I come from a family that, high functioning, financially literate, successful. So now I've just been tasked with keeping that ship sailing, not sinking, keeping on track. And I take that really serious. Been very lucky. I'm the oldest of four, and all of us are very serious people. I'm a lawyer. My other two brothers are lawyers, and my young sister's a doctor.
Oh, wow.
And we all take it really serious, trying to keep the ship on course and make sure that not only are our lives going to be successful, but then, we keep the next generation. Hopefully, we'll keep that on track too. So, yeah. And I didn't come up with that term. We go to property conventions all over the country, like 2 or 3 times a year. And a guy we met that's now a mentor of ours, he's our business coach, but he described it to us like that we're stewards of the ship now, that was created before us, built before us, and had been set on this course that hopefully is going to last generations.
Yeah.
And we're the ones at the steering wheel.
You're definitely adding to it, right? You
trying. You always still. I've been doing this 10 years. I still feel like it's still at the very beginning.
Yeah.
Even though probably on the outside it looks like we're doing really well, very successful, but it's all relative, and we have big dreams.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think it was, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Alex Hormozy, but he's talking about, like, you can tell how successful somebody's going to be about the way that they look at time. If they're trying to make $100,000 in 6 months, or they're trying to make $500,000 in 2 years, if you're talking to somebody that's looking 10 years down the road, like we were talking about the other day about being mobile. Mm-hmm. If you're looking 10 years down the road, that's somebody that's going to say, hey, I'm not in a rush. I'm just going to put in the work. I'm just going to grind, and I'm going to build it.
The only downside is if you have a heart attack.
Yeah, true. True.
My dad goes back and forth on that too. I try not to quote my dad too much, because even though he's done very well, he's a very private person, but he just says, sometimes I wish, that he could have enjoyed his money when he was younger, because you just never know when stray bullet's going to get you, or heart attack. He's like, sometimes I wish I'd taken more trips and done things.
Yeah.
But fortunately, he's now 65 and in great health, and now he is enjoying his money. He's taking those trips. He's taking vacations. He's retired at 65 with, I'm not going to say no worries, but he's not having to work anymore.
Yeah.
He still has to manage his money and look in on things every once in a while. But for the most part, Blake and I are managing all his real estate and and the law, and trying to keep things steady the course. But yeah, he does say that. That does stick in my mind. It's like, I'm working really, really hard, and I'm always looking 10, 15, 20 years down the road. Hopefully I see the outcome of all this work.
Yeah.
I'm sure I will, but
yeah, it really comes down to balance. Like you hear a lot of people that say health is wealth, and that is the truest thing. Like, you can have all this money, but if you don't have the health, you won't be able to enjoy it. And then on another note, yeah, you can look 10 years down the road, but you have to understand, you may have a heart attack tomorrow. So I got to take today by the fullest. What's a full day? A full day for me is getting up, going to the gym, getting healthy, spending time with my family, growing my business, growing my wife's business, connecting to other people.
Everything you said is similar to me, except for the connecting to other people.
Yeah,
I'm trying to work on networking, but I certainly it's easy to have your head down for a long period of time.
Absolutely.
And all of a sudden you look up and you're like, I haven't seen someone from the public in 6 months. I've only hung out with employees or managers or my family that's also in the same business. I need to work on that. That's why I'm pretty excited about the Main Street Mingle project you got going, because it's a business way to connect with people that I need.
Yeah, and yeah, we talked a little business the other day, but the great thing about networking is building relationships with people. You know, understanding, oh, this is a pretty cool guy. I like the way he functions. You know, I need to surround myself with those kind of people because, you know, going back to the old saying, you know, you are who you surround yourself with, or who you surround yourself with is a real thing. And if you're surrounding yourself with people that are like-minded, that want to hustle, that want to do good, they want to do well for their family, and you know, be a good person at the same time. You know, that's
inspiring.
That's what I'm trying to build down there.
Yeah. Sometimes you get in a cave and you maybe get burned out or unmotivated. That's why it's helpful to be surrounded by people like that.
Yeah, people.
Well, look what Coby's doing. Look what we met
Patterson. Yeah.
Patterson.
Jordan. Yeah.
Jordan Patterson. And Jordan was fun to talk to. I probably talked to him for like 30 minutes just about, you know, his business. He's doing a lot of interesting things.
Yeah.
Hopefully I have him on one day. I invited him, but I actually need to text him.
Yeah.
I got his card, but I didn't do a follow-up. And that's why I don't like cards either. I do a really good job of, if I'm in a mixer, I'm like, here's my phone, put your phone number in.
Yeah.
You know, I'll text you right now. Because, you know, if you're giving cards out, you're just at the mercy of them remembering to put your phone number in later.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I got this this thing right here. It's called a link. It just goes on the back of your phone, and you can tap the phone. It sends them your contact information. It asks for their name, their phone number, their email. It sends you their information, and then you can have like a page of like what you do. You can put links. You can put all your, you can put your podcast link on there, your YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, whatever.
So, do you have professional pages yet?
I do. I do have an Instagram page. My Facebook page, I've just been using my personal. You know, I think there's a good mix. You know, like a lot of people don't want you just throwing business, which maybe I haven't built my business to big enough to where I could just have a personal page where I could just throw business out there and get a lot of views. I feel like you guys get quite a few views on your page, but I'm trying to mix it with my personal account, right? So I want to have my organic content, myself with my family, you know, just stuff that I like that I share, and then you know, throw some business in the mix.
You're just limited with a personal page because you only have 5,000 friends.
Okay.
With the professional page, it's unlimited.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the benefit. You reach that cap quickly too once you start posting, you know, engaging content, because then people want to follow you and see your stuff when you post it. But then all of a sudden, they can't friend you. So you really have to. It's not really, you don't really have a choice. Yeah. Unfortunately,
I'll do it right after this.
Yep. Coby Cima, you know, insurance sales or something. Yeah. With that in the name is what I'd recommend. My realtors, I make them put Rothio Gonzalez Realtor, or, you know. Yeah. KY Realtors, you know, something like that, just so people kind of know what they're getting themselves in, what they're signing up for, even before they get on the page. Yeah.
Me and my wife have been thinking of starting one of these on our own because we'd like to have just to be able to get people on there, you know, connect with people. I think it would be really good for our businesses as well.
You have to. Yeah. You have to. My first episode, I set my iPhone, turned it sideways. Okay. Push play, push record. It was horrible.
Just voice.
Huh?
Voice only, or
yeah, it's horrible. No editing, no graphics. Just me and my Aunt Tanya talking about real estate. No plan going in.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta start somewhere.
It's still on my YouTube too. Yeah. I've thought about taking it off a few times because it is so rough, but I do like looking back at it just for myself and seeing, you know, how far we've come. So this will be episode 70, 71. Mm-hmm. So I mean. And I've been doing this almost weekly for 2 years now. Oh, wow. A little bit over 2 years. I usually take like a 4 or 5 week break between years. Like season 1 was the first year. Season 2 was the second year. We just started season 3 of the podcast. I always take like 4 weeks off. So that's why we're not at, you know, it's not, you know, at 150 episodes. But
so I was thinking of something on the way over here. Have you ever seen those podcasts where they're in a car driving around?
Yeah.
Dude, you should do one in your Cybertruck.
Yeah, people have pitched that to me, and I'm open to it.
Yeah.
We've filmed a little bit in the Cybertruck, and it's all been great. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's I always tell people I'm going to add to the list of things I need to do.
Yeah.
You know, like right now I got to the law office at 8 and worked till 1:45. Came over here to the podcast, come back to law. Then afterwards we're having meetings with the realty office. So
staying slammed.
It's just hard to add more things because, you know, you got to set up the cameras, the mics. There's going to be lessons learned. Like the first time we do it, the audio will suck. And so like the first 5 episodes would be like just a bunch of learning, a bunch of lessons.
Yeah.
So that's been the
That
barrier.
makes sense.
Anytime you do anything new, they're just going to make a bunch of mistakes, and it's going to be horrible, and then you get better slowly, just like any business.
Yeah.
So now the podcast I feel like it's got a lot of momentum. I've got the editing down, I've got all the equipment. The barrier is, so this is a professional soundboard, $3,500. Horrible, huge barrier.
Yeah.
The lights, I've got another $4,000 in them. Each mic, $600. Have to have 3 of them. So that's each camera's $2,500. I've easily got $20,000 in here, including the furniture.
Yeah.
We put this decoration was handmade, just the remodel. So we have $20,000 just in the podcast, and I didn't have that all at once. You slowly just upgrade things as you need. Like, okay, it's time to get professional lights. Okay, we had 2 mics because we couldn't afford 3. Finally, I could afford the 3rd one. Like, just slowly built. Had 1 camera, then add a 2nd one. Over time. So this has been year 3. So I've had to spread that $20,000 over that time.
Yeah.
So that's the only learning how to do one, and then the equipment. Those are the 2 barriers to the podcast. But you and your wife just set the camera in your living room or kitchen and just start talking. You'll get there.
Yeah, we have those little clip-on mics, so we could do that.
Just so you're light years ahead of where I started.
Yeah.
I don't know if we had those clip-on mics or not. I know I had those at some point, but now we've got the big daddy microphones. These are the mics that like singers use on stage.
Yeah, they're nice.
Yeah, that's worked out. All right. Well, I really appreciate you coming on.
Thanks
Anytime
for
you got
having me.
anything exciting going on, let's jump on here. I'd love to talk about it more.
Yeah, I'd love. I think my wife would love to be on here.
I'd love to have her on. I don't know her. I've never met her, but I'd love to meet her.
Maybe I'd like to be on here together as well. Just sort of talk about starting, growing a business, being young parents, having a young family.
I would love it. Let's do it next week.
Okay.
Sooner the better.
Let's do it, man.
All right. This has been another episode of the PropertyTales podcast. I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
All right. We'll see you next time.